What is your American dream?
My family is from Ecuador and I am from Chicago. My American dream is to be able to pay back my parents for everything they did for me.
I come from France and my American dream is to help every day the homeless. Merci à vous.
I am from Tunisia. My American dream is to see love and peace.
I was born in North Carolina, Rocky Mountain. My dream is to have peace, and that's it.
My parents are Guyanese, so I'm first generation American. My American dream is that we all get the same treatment, same laws, same education as everyone. That will be my American dream.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
I'm dyeing my egg for Easter. One down, many more to go. The Spar Bernstein Easter egg hunt we're having today. I'm so excited. I think I'm gonna have the advantage because I'm the lowest to the ground around here. Got Easter candy, we've got some matzah for Passover. We are set for a holiday weekend. Woohoo! Oh, hello, you caught me getting ready for this weekend. It's a big celebration. Tomorrow is Good Friday, the beginning of Easter, and it's the first night of Passover. Big weekend. But let's not forget my job. Did you guys miss yesterday's episode of Brad Show Live? Well, in case you did, Brad went to La Pulperia. It's a beautiful Latin fusion restaurant where he spoke with the owners, Victor Medina from Mexico and Carlos Barros, originally from Argentina. They told him all about their immigration stories to the United States and how they were able to make a huge success of themselves, co-owners of this beautiful restaurant that they now own 3 of. We also heard from Anna Azcona, our Miami field correspondent. She laid down the law to people who had the nerve to body shame Selena Gomez after she just got through a kidney transplant operation. What is wrong with people? And we had Carmela Warren on talking about another incredible case she resolved for a client. That client owed $197,000 and she got it down to only $2,000. Carmela is amazing. She saved the lady $195,000. Do you know how many pretzels that kind of money could buy? So what is going to happen on today's show? Well, you'll just have to watch and see. But excuse me, I must go on my Easter egg hunt now. Happy Easter, happy Passover to the Brad Show Live family. Yay! Aha! Found another one! Oh, Paul, do you mind if I grab this egg? It's the last egg in my Easter egg hunt.
Oh, hi, Sloth. I mean Groundhog.
Oh, I'm a groundhog!
Sorry.
Okay, just don't forget it. Happy Easter, happy Passover, Paul Hirsch!
Thanks, Groundhog.
Thank you.
All right, it is Thursday evening, March 29th. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Brad Squad. Welcome all new viewers as well. And, oh my gosh, on Brad Show Live, lots of hellos already. Barbara Lord, Sunita, hello, Christy, Dion. Who else is saying hello? Cordella Willery. Haven't seen her in a while. Has she been watching lately? I don't know. Kirk Brown, Michelle Harris. Tanetso Bless Robinson is always in the house. Mashika Gordon, how are you? Jeff Bosey. Jeff Bosey wants to boil the groundhog for Easter. Yvonne Steele. I'm just reading as I see it here. Yvonne Steele and who else here? Marsha Whitaker. And goes on. And of course, on law offices of Spar and Bernstein, Shireen Webster, Tamara Boney. I don't know what happened to us, but we're back. And everybody else who is watching us, welcome. It is Thursday night, and we are here to hopefully have some fun and get some legal questions answered as well. The telephone number, our lines are open, 1-800-529-5465. And welcome, Belgium Kim and Jonathan. Hello. Jonathan back from his Ethiopian business seminar.
It was amazing.
He is sporting the no shirt.
The no shirt today.
The no shirt and the tats on his arms.
The tats are out.
We're expecting lots of comments. Lots of comments.
Oh, gee.
Right?
Oh, God, it's over. It's over. Our women have melted.
No.
Somebody.
Now I can never go shirtless on this show. I can never do it anymore.
Can we talk about how this is sleeveless and not shirtless?
I don't know. It seems like I can tell you something. It starts sleeveless and goes shirtless. Right. It starts with the sleeves. All right. Everybody's asking him to take it off. Okay.
No.
All right. So, any event, welcome everybody. We will be getting to your immigration questions. 1-800-529-5465. You may see in front of us some holiday cheer.
Right.
We have matzah.
Get in there.
We have Easter candy.
Easter jelly beans.
Easter jelly beans. We have some eggs in here as well. Some eggs and Easter candy. Now I noticed something here. There's something very, very that anybody who is watching this would see.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The people who celebrate Easter get the better food here.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, you got candy, you got beautiful stuff. I got this like ugly matzah thing in front of me. on a paper plate. Basically like, for Passover we're eating cardboard, you're eating sweets.
Yep.
Doesn't seem very fair to me.
Yep.
Doesn't seem very fair to me.
We actually celebrate our Easter the week after, the Orthodox.
You are
Easter.
Orthodox.
Yeah. The
So
Ethiopian
Orthodox Easter is another week.
Yeah,
because they
April
follow a
8th.
different calendar.
Exactly.
You follow a different calendar.
We do.
Your Christmas is always that first week of January 8th or 7th, right?
Yeah, 7th or 8th.
Right.
Yep.
All right, so happy Easter. Next week we'll wish Jonathan happy.
Thank you. It's
happy,
still like Easter,
happy Orthodox Easter in the future. Happy Passover to the brethren.
Yeah.
And let's see what's going on in the news. Oh, before we go into the news, by the way, I do have to remind everybody, please share this with your friends and family. Of course, sharing is always caring, and if you don't share, then you really don't care. The best way to share this is take out your thumb, take out your finger, press the little button on the bottom, put it on your timeline, put it on your friend's timeline, put it on anybody's timeline you like. If you're in groups, the best way to share in groups is say, hey group, go check this out.
There you go.
And there is Brad drinking his coffee next to Belgium Kim. That I think we gotta maybe update our share video.
That's true.
We gotta update our share video a little bit. Maybe we gotta get Jonathan in there, maybe or something. Also, everybody, if you want to know when Brad Show Live comes on, the best way to know when Brad Show Live comes on is you actually follow and like Brad Show Live. If you follow and like Brad Show Live, every day, Monday through Friday, you're going to get a notification from Mark Zuckerberg that says Brad and Belgium Kim and Jonathan, they're all on.
We all on.
All on.
Yep.
Except tomorrow we will not be on.
No.
Because it is Good Friday.
We're observing.
We are observing Good Friday and Passover tomorrow. So this will be our last show. This is like little housekeeping, as they like to say in TV land, even though this is not TV. Little housekeeping. And so tomorrow we will be observing Good Friday and Passover. We will be off. Our studio will be dark, as they say in TV land.
Yeah.
And,
we're so hip with the lingo, Brad.
I'm sorry?
We're so hip with the lingo.
So hip with the lingo.
Yeah.
But we will be back on Monday. In the meantime, GoFundMe is used for a lot of good things. People who are sick, who need to raise money for their medical care. Donald Trump is now suggesting that the United States of America, Donald Trump, is going to start a GoFundMe page to build a wall across Mexico. I can't make this stuff up. I can't make it stuff up. I swear to God, he wants to start a GoFundMe page to collect $1.6 billion to start funding the wall. Some people close to the president have suggested this, and they're going to use the money raised to construct the wall. Problem is, I don't know if it's legal. I am a lawyer, but I'm not familiar with this particular, land usage laws, as well as taking private money to fund public works. But to me, it sounds very, 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 very fishy. That is a prototype of the wall that he wants to build. Obviously, they're not very smart because they got to attach the walls together.
Wait, are you serious?
Okay, there's a lot of openings between the walls. I don't think these walls are going to work like that.
No.
I don't think those walls will work.
Billion? Are you
Look,
serious?
this is like, I mean, are you serious? Like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to every 60 feet, we're going to put some concrete up. Okay,
That
makes
super efficient.
It doesn't seem very efficient wall, but I think what we're looking at, in all seriousness, I think what we're looking at is prototypes of the wall that they want to build.
That makes more
That's
sense.
more like prototypes of the wall that they want to build, not the actual wall.
That's insane.
Right. Meanwhile, I was watching Jeopardy the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Jeopardy fan. Are you?
Yeah.
You like Jeopardy?
I'm a Wheel of Fortune cop.
I do not like Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune reminds me of my grandmother.
Me too. That's why I watch it.
My grandma loved Wheel of Fortune, and I want you to know I used to watch it as a kid. And Pat Sage, I don't know how old he is now, but he's like, I think they like stick him in formaldehyde or something.
Yeah.
Like every day after the show's over,
Yeah.
Pat, you go back,
Get
go back
in.
into the formaldehyde because this guy has been doing this for like 150 years.
And
Wheel of
looks the
Fortune.
exact same.
It looks exactly the same.
Right. Not one day.
Right, I think okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do Wheel of Fortune for an hour, then get the formaldehyde tank out and throw this guy Pat Sajak right back in there. All right, let him soak in there for 23 hours, and then we'll bring him back out. And then we'll bring him back out for tomorrow.
He's got a little feeding tube, so he never has to exit.
I swear to God, I think that's what happens.
I think more surprising is Vanna.
Yeah,
Vanna White has also not in any way.
She looks good too.
So what happened on Jeopardy?
So on Jeopardy, they had a question. I actually saw the show.
Oh, yeah.
And the answer, because you know how in Jeopardy they do, you have to, the answer is the question, and the question is the answer. It's backwards.
Or what is.
Right, exactly. So the answer, Alex Trebek says, the answer is, who is Eric? I'm sorry, I screwed it up.
Look.
All right, I'm already giving it up. Okay, so the answer was Eric Trump to Jared Kushner.
Yes.
Eric Trump to Jared Kushner. Who wants to answer? I'm waiting for somebody to answer here. Eric Trump to Jared Kushner.
Don't care about that.
You do
family,
not
so.
know what the answer is. Anybody on Eric Trump to you would be like, you would lose.
Eric Trump
I would
to
lose.
Jared
You would both lose. Okay, the answer was, who is Eric's brother-in-law?
Oh, that's the last thing I was thinking.
That is the answer. Who is
What?
So Eric Trump was so excited that he was an answer on Jeopardy
I mean, low-key,
that
I would
he
be too.
tweeted rightfully. Okay, he tweeted rightfully. Here's his tweet. Always fun being a hashtag Jeopardy question. Who is brother-in-law? Okay, very good. All right. So now the problem with Twitter is, as soon as you start,
You
Eric,
already
you
know.
idiot.
They gonna go start.
Take it,
roasting.
All right. So here are some other answers that it could have been. Okay. This is now. Remember, the answer is Eric Trump to Jared Kushner.
Jared Kushner.
Who are cellmates?
I think that should win.
Which snake will eat which snake first? I don't like that one as much. All right. So here's an answer from Twitter. Who is co-conspirator?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Here's one. Okay. Now remember, the answer is what? The answer is Eric Trump to Jared Kushner. Okay. Now Eric Trump, for those who don't know, is Trump's stupid son. He's the dumb one.
Yep.
They're all not bright, but he's considered, at least portrayed as.
What is he, like the third one?
Yeah, he's like the like the really dumb one.
He's always
and so he's always considered the dumb one. And Jared Kushner is the guy who never speaks, who's married to Ivanka Trump.
Right.
That is like behind the scenes, like being the president.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, like they say, like this guy's the president, not Trump.
Right.
Like behind the scenes, and he has absolutely no title at the White House, but he seems to walk around like he's the president.
Really?
Right.
And he has not been vetted by Congress. And eventually, recently they took his security clearances away because obviously there's some shenanigans.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Ooh.
So the answer was on this Jeopardy. remember, it's Eric Trump
to
Jared Kushner. Okay.
Eric Trump to Jared Kushner. So other people said, what is babysitter while sister visits him in jail? Okay. And that was the best one, all right?
That was a good
That was the best one. I like that. There's a whole other ones, but that was my favorite one as well. All right, so that's what happened on Jeopardy, okay? So a lot of people on Twitter feel that they will be going to jail soon. Yeah. Okay, apparently they feel that will be happening. What else is happening? Oh, did you see, by the way, you weren't here, Jonathan. You were here.
I was here.
Okay.
I don't know when.
But
I was here.
I'm about to tell you when. Okay. All right. So you weren't here back in the early part of the Trump administration as part of our show when Trump did the Muslim ban. And you were here in the United States, you were aware of it, but we talked about it a lot. Okay. And there was the Muslim ban. He banned entire countries of people. He said, countries are terrible. There's not a nice human being. There's not a decent human being who comes from Syria. There's not a decent human being that comes from, the 7 countries that he banned. Syria, this one I'm going to talk about is Syria, but he banned about 7 of them. And then eventually people sued and said, hey, wait a second. There's a lot of refugees. There's war going on in Syria. There's got to be a few decent people there, okay? Just like in any country, there's good and bad people. Even like in the United States, there's good and bad people. Right?
Exactly.
Okay? I mean, I don't know why the United States thinks that if you're born here, you're automatically a good person. Okay, it doesn't happen. There's good and bad everywhere. So any event, so he wanted to ban them. He said, who needs these S-hole countries? Okay, they're terrible. Get rid of them. We don't want them here. Okay, we only want people from Norway. Okay.
I do remember that.
Yeah, you remember that, right? So Canada, the decent people of Canada are taking the Syrian refugees.
Wow.
So there was a story that a Canadian in Ontario was getting married.
Okay.
And they were ready to go down the aisle. The photographer was there taking the pictures. There she is. Okay. And what happened, unfortunately, was her dress ripped. And she was hysterical, crying. I mean, you think about it, the woman's dress rips.
Yikes.
Okay, right before her wedding, and how are you going to fix this? I mean, the people are coming into the wedding chapel, and they're all sitting down at the wedding chapel, and they're ready to go, and they're waiting. And this poor woman's dress, this is her most important day of her life, rips.
It's every bride's worst nightmare.
So they didn't know what to do. They were taking pins. They were trying to fix it. The woman's hysterical. Okay, now what happened though was that the wedding photographer had suggested that they knew that the person who lived next door was a Syrian refugee to where the wedding was happening. And the photographer, I guess, lived next door. The photographer's name was Lindsay Coulter. And he was hosting the Syrian refugee family until they were able to resettle. Just by happenstance, the Syrian refugee family, the father was a tailor for the last 30 years. So they didn't speak any English, this tailor. They were from Aleppo, Syria, which is where Bashar al-Assad bombed the hell out of them. Okay, but the father, he was there. He was a tailor. So the father showed up with the son at the bride's rented. This was a bride rented this house to have her wedding in, I guess, and with a sewing kit. And with the help of a internet translator and gestures, the Syrian refugee, his name was Dudu, sprung into action and masterfully put the bride's dress back together. Now Dudu, he's the Syrian tailor. He communicated with the bride, and the bride only spoke Chinese. She's Mandarin.
Oh my God.
Okay?
That's
so they
insane.
all spoke to each other just using hand gestures, And you're like, you go here, you go, you go there. So since no one could say thank you to each other because the bride and their family spoke Chinese, and the Syrian refugee, he was Kurdish, everybody just kind of bowed to each other and said thank you, and they left. So what happened was is that eventually the photograph and the story of this went on the internet, and all of a sudden it went viral around the world and had hundreds of thousands of likes. And the cameras had captured this very special moment. And really, besides, it's great that, there was a tailor and the tailor jumped into action and saved the wife's wedding. Wow. But really what it goes to show is, Donald, there's some decent people all over the world, even from S-hole countries like Syria, right?
And the sad thing is, he's not going to say anything about this stuff.
Of course not. Of course he's not.
Like,
of course he's not.
He'll tweet about everything else.
Yeah, he'll tweet about everything else, right?
He'll retweet things from literal terror groups and such.
Yeah.
But won't talk about a man literally saving this woman's wedding day.
That's right. Eric Trump, he's just boasting that he was happy.
Yeah,
he was on Jeopardy. He was on Jeopardy. Wait, what is cellmates?
Co-conspirator.
What is poor co-conspirators? That would have been great. Eric Trump to Jared Kushner. I got it. Poor co-conspirators.
You need to go on the show. You should go on the show.
And finally, okay, for those of you who feel that the rent is sky high in New York.
It is.
Who believes that? Right, you got to get in the picture. Yes. There you are, you're in the picture.
Yes.
High, sky high.
Sky high.
Sky high.
A new lease yesterday,
I will tell you, Aaron Randolph has figured it out. Now, Aaron Randolph made his van his apartment.
That's not
okay, and he drives around. He has the entire apartment in his van, and he parks in legal parking spots in the evening and sleeps in his van. Guess what? It is now, he's got rent free. And he's a school teacher. The only thing is, how do you there? He's playing the guitar.
Yeah.
It's gotta be boring in the van there. It's just playing his guitar. No, he's playing a guitar. Maybe he has a TV in there.
You know one thing I can guarantee you he doesn't have?
So he makes. He says he makes. Yeah, he does not. Would you?
He brings me back to his van after our night date.
How about this? Like you go on a blind date, and he comes to pick you up in the van. And you're like, did you just pick me up at your apartment?
Right, and then he takes us to the park and unwraps our Lunchables for our picnic. Are you kidding me? No.
Yeah. He's not bad looking. He's not bad looking, but I don't know how well he's going to do with the women. I happen to think about that. You're right.
Exactly. Like I would right swipe him and then be the most disappointed human that ever has been. Are you kidding me?
There is somebody out there for everybody. I guarantee you, there's somebody out there that would like to live in that van.
There are people who like to live in vans, right? Yeah. Down by the river. You ever see that? You ever see that Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
Chris Farley, I live in a van down by the river.
Yeah, hey.
So he makes $30,000 a year, so he saves all the money, and as long as his only rent is the parking tickets that he may get from parking illegally.
That's hilarious.
So
I won't be ever doing that.
No.
So while he could have rented, the average rent for a studio in Long Island City is $2,383 a month.
For a studio?
For a studio, yes. That is the average month for a studio. Long Island City's Queens.
Yeah.
You can do better than that.
That is a lot. Well, I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you what this guy Douglas Elliman says.
Okay.
There's a guy by the name of Douglas Elliman. He claims Douglas Elliman,
who gets a bunch of people houses. The average rent's
$2,383. So he has figured it out.
Yeah. Karkush in our comment said a homeless person would probably date him, I'm sure.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
You know what? Way to look at the glass half full.
Where does he shower?
Burger King.
What does he do if he needs to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night?
Bird baths.
What does he do if he needs to go to the bathroom?
That's a
sidewalk? Does he drive to the Starbucks?
No.
What happens?
You have to order something in most Starbucks in order to use the restroom.
Really?
It's gonna start getting.
So where's he showering? Where's he going to the bathroom? Where's he brushing his teeth in the morning?
These are questions that we should be asking.
These are questions that inquiring minds want to know.
Right.
Yeah.
The world needs to know.
Inquiring minds want to know.
He looks clean.
He cleaned up for the picture.
His hair looks dirty.
Yeah, he obviously cleaned up for the picture.
Hanson Brothers type of look. Do we still have Hanson Brothers?
All I know is I don't know if I would want him to be my kid's teacher.
That's right. Would you want him
He's
to
a
be
school
your kid?
teacher.
Like, would you be proud of your
He's a
children
school
if
teacher.
this is what he's like? Dad, listen.
Right.
I have a really good fiscal responsibility idea.
Okay, so I don't know.
Right?
He would teach your kids how to like save money. So you save your money.
That's true.
So maybe you do want him as a kid's teacher.
Maybe you do want him living in a van. Zach?
My kid's teacher lives in a van down by the river. All right. And finally, before we get to our immigration questions at 1-800-529-5465, I do have to say, here at Spar and Bernstein, you know Miss Olive. Did you ever meet Miss Olive?
No.
Okay, Olive Stead-Davidson. She started employment here at Spar and Bernstein when it was the law offices of Harry Spar in 1986. I, in 1986, was just a senior in high school, 17 years old.
Wow.
Not even knowing if I was even going to be a lawyer.
Wow.
Right.
And Miss Olive Stead-Davidson started working here as a paralegal for Harry Spar, and everyone always wants to know who's Harry Spar. Harry Spar was my grandfather. He passed away. He passed away a long time ago. He was an elderly man, even back in the 1980s. But she started working out as his paralegal. Today, on March 29th, 2018, we had a retirement party. She worked for us for 32 years.
Wow.
And she worked through law offices of Harry Spar, then Spar and Bernstein, and she has seen us grow and grow and grow. And she is our longest tenured employee.
Wow.
And we had a retirement party for her. I bought her a beautiful, if I must say, a beautiful
You did.
pearl bracelet from Tiffany's.
Yep.
Right, it wasn't no like 99-cent store.
no.
It was, you know, the
you
Tiffany's.
out.
It was the
The
real,
good stuff.
the real good stuff.
The good
It was the
stuff.
good stuff.
Yeah.
And we had a going away party for her this afternoon, a lunch.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
we wish her the best. She's moving to Florida for retirement. She
Ooh.
deserves it. And
Right.
I think Jill says we filmed a little bit of our retirement party. We had a lunch in our conference room. Let's see.
Taking you inside.
We wish you all the best of luck and congratulations. You're wonderful to work with, and you will always be missed. And wish you all the best and happiness and everything. And I went out this morning. Honey's on. I did this all on my
Thank you very much, Brad. I enjoy my time here, and I'm going to miss everyone, but I wish you all the best for the future and long life. Thank you.
Enjoy. Thank you. Congratulations, and all the best. All right, and that's
Love
it. All
that.
the best. And,
Love
you know,
that.
so she was here 32 years.
Wow. And she looks amazing.
And she looks amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and she didn't start here when she was 18. She looks good.
She looks great.
She looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and she did. And I said to her today, I said, you know, how many people do you think over your 32-year career did you help make a better life for? I mean, because I can tell you from 2000.
Right.
Okay, from 2000, because that's when we started. We changed our computer systems in 2000. We've been keeping track ever since. You know, we don't, prior to 2000, we really don't know, although Spar and Bernstein has been around since 1958.
Right.
Okay, we always forget that. We've been around for 60 years doing this.
Year.
Yeah, it is. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, we have to do a big thing.
60-year anniversary, you know, helping immigrants. Now, from 2000, okay, we are over 70,000 people. We're over 70,000 clients in our computer system that we've helped, we've given advice to, we've given green cards or helped them with their divorces or criminal defense or whatever it is. So since at least 2000, in the last 17 years, we've helped over 70,000 immigrants.
That's
here.
amazing.
Wow.
So she's been here since 1986.
Sheesh.
So I said to her, I said, how many do you think that, you know, you helped?
Right.
And she says, I don't know, I lost track, but, you know, thousands and thousands, if not 10,000. You know, you think about it, you come to work every day, you don't realize how many people's lives you changed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an angel.
Crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Could you imagine working somewhere for 32 years? Is that right? That's insane commitment. My young self cannot wrap my brain around 32 years. That's
so can.
congratulations.
Right. So any event, Telephone number right now, 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Guadalupe in Houston, Texas. Guadalupe.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. What's happening?
Yes, I have a question. I sent my petition, and they already approved. Is the I-130 and I-485 for a justice?
What was approved? Because if your I-45 was approved, that means you have a green card.
Yeah, the I-130, and I already have an appointment for my biometric.
For your biometrics, okay. So your I-130 is approved, but your I-45 is pending still.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So who's sponsoring you? Who's sponsoring you?
My husband is a U.S. citizen.
Okay. And where are you from, Guadalupe?
Excuse me?
Where are you from?
I'm from Mexico.
You're from Mexico. How did you come to America?
Illegal, but I have that protection for the 245.
You have 245I. Wonderful. Okay.
Yes.
So your question is what?
The question is because the lady can help me to file all the papers.
Can what lady help you?
It's a notary. It's not a lawyer.
Okay, so a notario has helped you file the papers.
Yes.
And your question is what?
Yeah, she put it wrong, my information, because she put it about my employer.
Right.
Yeah, she put it that I don't work for the last 5 years, but
You have worked. Okay. All right. So all right. So you have to correct all of this. And
how can I do?
Well, you correct it. You'll correct it at the time of the interview, and you'll say, "I went to a notario, and she said no employment on the form." So before you sit down and they start going through all the forms with you, say, "I want to correct this. I didn't realize at the time when I filed that it was filed incorrectly," and you go to correct it before you testify about some sort of misrepresentation that you're making. Now, this is the fear that I have when people go to notarios, to quote paralegals, whatever it may be. Anybody can call themselves a notario. You know what? Jonathan one day, okay? And Jonathan, who's sitting next to me, okay, has sat here about 2 weeks now doing our show here in the studio. The only immigration he knows is just from sitting here for 2 weeks in our studio. He can tomorrow go out, rent an office, call himself a notario, call himself a paralegal, and start saying, "I'm going to fill out forms for people. I'm going to start giving legal advice for people," because it's completely unregulated. Anyone can do it. Okay? So you have to be very, very careful. Now, you can't call yourself a lawyer. Lawyer's got to go to law school, got to pass a bar exam, which is 3 days, has to be licensed. So that's why generally if you're going to go get help and you go to a notario or paralegal, what happens is you're just putting your life in your hands. You have no idea. It's like going in an airplane and you have no idea whether the pilot even knows how to fly a plane. Okay, you're just taking your chances. So, but it can be fixed. Okay, don't freak out.
Do you think I don't have problems?
I think you won't have a problem if you follow my directions. Okay, my directions will be two things. One is maybe you should have a consultation with me because we're not going to be able to go through. What I'd like to do is go through all the forms that this notario has submitted for you, and we can either fix it by an affidavit or by your own testimony at the time of the interview. But everything, luckily, can be corrected. All right? So,
okay, yeah, because I have a scare that probably he can say you cannot have your green card or something like that.
Well, the only time that they would deny you and say you can't get your green card is for misrepresentation, for lying. Okay, so you have to fix it before it becomes a lie or a misrepresentation. Right now, it sounds like it's an error on a form. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So hold on 1 second. Okay.
Okay.
All right. 1-800-529-5465 is the number to call. Let's go to Damien in Brooklyn. Damien.
Hello. Hi, Brad.
How are you?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
I'm just calling off a question. I came here on a visa and I filed asylum. And after a couple months, like a year after, I get married. So I get a green card to the married. I still come back to Jamaica. Do I apply for asylum?
How did you come to the United States?
Regular visa.
Okay, and then after you got your visa, you filed for asylum?
Yeah, I came here and applied for asylum. Yeah.
Okay, so you got in. Did you get stopped at the airport, or you were inspected at the airport, and then months later?
No, I don't get stopped at the airport. No, I came through and after.
And then okay, and now you're married, and now you're married to and now you're married to a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
Okay, so what you want to do is you want to withdraw your asylum claim and file an adjustment, but you won't have to go back home.
No, I filed already.
Okay, so what's your question then?
To married, but I have two. I filed the asylum plus I filed for the married. Still.
Okay, so what I'm saying to you again, okay, in order to do it properly, is you withdraw your asylum application, say I don't want to pursue this any longer, and you file an adjustment application based on marriage. That is the process. Okay, hold on 1 second. All right, let's go to Kamisha in the Bronx. Kamisha. What happened to Kamisha? Kamisha.
Hi.
Hi, Kamisha.
Hi, I'm here. Thank you so much. I have a question.
Yes.
I have a boyfriend. He came up on a visa, and we want to get married. The thing is, I only have a green card, so I wanted to know what's the way I would have to do it to get his paperwork. Do I first go and do my citizenship, put that in?
Well, how long has he been here now?
2 years.
Okay, so he's overstayed his time already. Go marry him, go file for him, do your citizenship simultaneously, and then once you become a citizen, you'll adjust his status.
Okay, that sounds good. I have another question.
What?
I get some assistance from the government. Would that jeopardize me filing for him?
What assistance do you get?
Pretty much everything, like housing assistance and also cash and SNAP.
Yeah, so yeah, if it won't prevent you from becoming a citizen, you can file an I-130 visa petition for him, but he may have trouble getting his green card because you can't support yourself without need-based government assistance. So the government's going to say, well, then why would we allow a second person in who's going to need need-based government assistance? So you're going to have to wean yourself off those programs in order to ultimately file for him, would be my belief.
Could I have someone of a family of his do an affidavit of
You can, but you can and you should. But they will look at the totality of circumstances, and it's possible that they may consider the fact that you are on government assistance, that he too will be on government assistance and deny you. There's a possibility of that.
So the best thing is just cut everything loose and just go ahead with it.
Wean it off if you can, if you want to help him get his green card, yeah.
Sure can. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. 1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Salim in St. Louis, Missouri. Salim.
Hi, Scalia.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
How you doing?
Good. I talked to you about, I think, 2 months ago.
Wait, you're breaking up. Start again?
I talked to you about 2 months ago.
All I'm hearing is So I don't know if it's me or is it? You hear it too? Okay, so it's his phone then. All right, why don't you take a step to the right? And then a jump to the left. And put your hands on your hips. And bring your knees in tight.
You hear me now?
Let's see. Talk again now. Yeah. You know what? We're going to put you on hold until we figure it out for you, okay? I'm going to let somebody talk to you off air and figure that out. All right. 1-800-529-5465. I'm glad you got the reference.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I didn't realize you were so well versed in the time.
I am well versed in the time warp. 1-800-529-5465. All right. So, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Belgium Kim.
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Belgium Kim.
Yes.
What's going on social media? What's going on over there?
We've got a lot of people saying hi. We've got people who had lots of feelings about the van man.
The van man.
Yes.
What is the feelings about van man?
Do you know what the feelings were? Were you guys are laughing now, but everybody is going to be lining up to want to be in his mansion with all the money he's going to
get. His mansion? They're calling it the mansion?
Not even the mansion.
That's great. Yeah. Hey, you're like, I called it the mansion. I thought you called it the mansion.
They're saying that he's going to end up saving so much money.
Yes,
and then he's going to be able to buy himself a mansion.
He's going to buy himself a mansion, which would be in the extended
fleet.
No, not a fleet, but an extended long version of the same van. You know, he's going to upgrade the van. It'll be longer. You know,
a limo van.
Right. Maybe it'll have a sunroof. You know,
It's definitely not an RV. It would just be a long van.
Right? No. I can imagine like you go on a date with the guy. And he's like, hey, you know, you want to come check out my van? Oh, Kim's like, yeah, my mansion. I'd love to check out your van. No, I said vansion.
I said my vansion.
I said my vansion.
I thought that was a typo in your text, man. Got me again.
Can't blame him.
Yeah, everybody's saying if you stick with this guy, you'll be wealthy with him.
All right. What else has happened on social media? That's really it. Everybody's into the van.
We had a lot of
Everybody's into the van.
We had a lot of, and of course, who's having what for dinner? We're talking bun and cheese of some sort. Apparently, like it's a Jamaican Easter
bun and
dish.
Cheese?
Bun and cheese.
I don't know.
I don't either, but I want some.
I made chicken parmesan for the first time last night, and it was really good.
Really?
It was really good.
Really?
Yeah, I'm actually proud of myself. I don't cook.
But you didn't bring it in for us.
That's true.
You right.
You're right. You did not bring it in for us.
Next dish, I got you guys.
All right.
I was a little hungry.
All right, we're gonna have Jonathan cooking for us later.
We hear lies like this from our viewers all the time. I'm still waiting on Tamika's food for me and Cordella's dinner for me. I'm holding you accountable to bring us food.
All right, let's dial it back. Let's answer some immigration questions. What's going on?
Punchy says, I'm asking for a friend. He filed his paperwork last year in November, did his fingerprint in January, but now he's filing the I-360. Does he have to wait until the I-360 is approved before getting the work permit, or is the process going to start over, meaning another fingerprint again?
Well, if the abuse was to a U.S. citizen, they should be filing an adjustment application with the I-360 even before it's filed, or if you've already filed the I-360, do the adjustment now, and that's how you will get your work permit. If the abuse was abuse by permanent resident spouse, then you got to wait for the I-360 to be approved before you get your work permit, and that's going to unfortunately be about 1.5 years.
All right, Karkush Burke. How long would it take if your mom were to take over your filing from your brother if your priority date is up this month?
Your mom can take it over from your brother. I assume your brother's alive, and I think probably what you're asking is that your brother doesn't earn enough income to support you, so that your mom would be giving a second affidavit of support. Is that the question that he may be asking?
Yeah, possibly.
Possibly. It'll take the same amount of time. So if the priority date's current, then hopefully you'll be able to get your green card. We need a little more information on there. So
okay,
I don't know what he means by the mom's taking over the brother's case. The only time a mom takes over the brother's case is if unfortunately the brother died. And now you want another family member to take it over. Otherwise, if the brother's alive, the brother has to sign an affidavit of support, and then if he doesn't make enough money, then the mom has to as well.
All right.
But it'll take the same amount of time.
Give us some more if you need.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Ambicioso says, my friend got married to a U.S. citizen, but unfortunately he passed away just 1 month after they got married. She didn't file her papers before her U.S. citizen husband died. What should she do?
A widow petition, but it has to be filed within 2 years of the death. Just prove that it was a bona fide marriage. You and the spouse lived together. He passed away after you were married.
Okay, Terry Lynn says, I'm presently going through a separation. My conditional residence card expires September 13th. I already had a consultation with Jacqueline, but I want to hear from you. I'm in North Carolina.
So what's his problem? He's going through a separation.
Yeah, and the conditional residence card expires September 13th.
Okay, got it. So he has a 2-year green card. Okay, if he's going through a separation, he should be doing a divorce right now. Because when you go to file to remove the conditions and go from a 2-year to a 10-year, you have to do two things. You gotta prove it's a real marriage. Okay, but before we say two things, let me dial it back a little bit because I screwed up in explaining. Because I got to make sure I explain it right.
Perfect.
When you have a 2-year green card, you and your spouse have to file a joint application. You got to prove you still live together. Except you're not living together anymore, so you can't file a joint application because that would be lying. So now, if you're not living together, the government says, okay, we're not going to force you to live together and stay in an unhappy marriage. So they give you 3 options. Option 1 is get a divorce and prove you lived together back in the day. 2, prove the reason you don't live with the spouse anymore is because of abuse. Or 3, prove I don't live with the spouse, don't send me home because I have this really terrible disease that can't be treated back home. Now, hopefully it's not number 3. Hopefully it's not number 2, the abuse. The easiest way always is if you're separated, you get a divorce and you prove that it was a real marriage back in the past, in the day, not now. And that's what I'm sure Jacqueline told you to do as well.
Sarah said, I've been a green card holder since I was 7 and plan on applying for my citizenship. I just got back from being out of the country for 9 months. Does this mean that I have to wait to apply for 3 months to regain residency? Is this going to be an issue, or can I go ahead and apply now? It was never less than the 330 days, and I never had a change of address.
Yeah, you got a problem, because in order to become a citizen, these are the rules. No trip out of the United States more than 6 months. You're already at 9. 30 out of 60 months in America, 90 days in the state living before you file. So in other words, if you move to Florida tomorrow, you got to wait 90 days in Florida before filing for citizenship. But you're already out of the country for 9 months. So unless you have a really good reason why you're out of the country for 9 months, the only things that I've ever seen used is school, something like that. But short of that, maybe you work for the U.S. government in another country, maybe. But if it's a job in another country, your own personal job in another country, they're not going to buy it. You got to wait 5 more years.
All right, from Tess. Hi, can you please help me? Do you know a good federal EEO lawyer for my case in Missouri? Perhaps accept contingency or fixed flat free.
Right. So she has an employment discrimination case. She should just give us a call and we'll figure out what her deal is and who to get her to. Don't worry.
Call up Tess.
Absolutely. We've got another question from Elenia, who says, can the government of Canada send information about a green card holder if they found out that the green card holder disturbed the immigration law in the U.S. to examine evidence in a cell phone? Could they put that information in some sort of common database with the U.S. government?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, they can.
Is that often? Like, does that happen often?
Possible. It's possible. I mean, you have to assume the United States and Canada share information. You have to assume that. Now, a lot of times, that just because they share information, a lot of times information gets lost in the shuffle. So I can't, you're going to say, is it going to be there? Is it not going to be there? I don't know what her situation, or was it a man or a woman?
Woman.
Okay, I don't know what her situation is, but yeah, it's possible.
Perfect.
All right, so let's do this. Perfect. All right, let's do this. We got Patrick in Dallas and Salim in St. Louis.
All right.
You go back and talk to your people.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, go talk to the peeps. Let me go talk to my peeps over here. Let's go to Patrick in Dallas. Patrick. 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 Patty Pat Patrick.
I hear something.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I got a question.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here too.
The first question is, I came into the U.S. with a B1, B2 visa, and right now I'm married to a U.S. citizen.
Right.
Now the question is this.
Okay.
What should I include my kids who came in with me?
How old are your kids?
What ones am I supposed to?
How old are your kids?
9 and 6.
And they're here with you in America?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you write their names on your I-130 where it says what are your family members, but you're going to file separate adjustment applications for each of them, a separate I-130 and a separate adjustment. So you're going to send 3 separate applications in, an adjustment in I-130 for you, an adjustment in I-130 for the 9-year-old, and an adjustment in I-130 for the 6-year-old. All going to be, the petitioner is going to be your wife. 3 separate applications. That's how it works. And if you need help, hold on one second, okay? Let's go to Salim in St. Louis, Missouri. Salim.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good. I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I got denied for a citizen in 2015.
Why?
For citizenship.
Why?
I got denied.
Why? Why
They
is my
say
question?
because I have a case dismissed 10 years ago, but I don't know the arrest information. They say you didn't close the arrest. You give false testimony.
Okay.
But the case dismissed 2003.
Right.
I did appeal. I explained to them. I said, I forget. I don't remember 15 years. They give me the same answer.
Okay.
They deny my appeal.
Are you married to a U.S.
wait.
Are you married to a U.S. citizen?
No. I have a green card for almost 18 years.
What was the case about?
The case dismissed was for a bad check, less than 400.
Okay, and it was dismissed.
The case dropped.
And it was dismissed.
It was dismissed. I didn't go to the court. No.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can try to file again now and submit all the documentation, and certainly tell them, hey, they're denying you for saying you have bad moral character for misrepresenting what happened. You can argue certainly and say exactly what you're saying, which is I didn't remember, I didn't purposely do anything. It's just literally I didn't remember, and if they buy it, they believe it, you'll become a citizen. If not, what day did you go for your interview?
2015.
What month? What month and day?
September.
Okay, so then you can do it now and try, and if great if they do it. If not, you wait until October of 2020, which is a few days or one month after the 5-year anniversary of you going and testifying. And when you testified, you didn't tell them about this arrest, and go do it again, because now you have 5 years of good moral character. So certainly you can try now. I can't tell you whether you'll get it or not. But I mean, certainly let me finish. Certainly if you believed, they didn't believe you that you didn't remember, but maybe they'll believe you now. Who knows? But if not, certainly in October 2020.
But I did. I went to the court because I don't know about this arrest, and I did expungement. They took it from my record.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I have,
so then that's even that may be even more reason why you didn't disclose. Not only did I not remember it, but it was expunged. And to me, expungement meant that it didn't exist anymore, which is not the truth. But I mean, if that's what you believed, I mean, certainly it's worthwhile to look into it. If not, certainly October 2020.
No, I went to the court, and I did expungement. I have a letter, and they took it for background. So if I do background, it's going to be clean. It's not going to show up.
I know, but you still, just because an expungement for immigration purposes is still an arrest. It's still a conviction. Okay. You have to disclose it to immigration. So you can't say because my case was expunged, I didn't have to tell immigration. All right, that's not a law. All right, you have to tell them, even expunged cases. So hold on one second. All right, and he'll probably need a consultation. 1-800-529-5465. Expungement means that you were convicted of a crime, and there was a period of time you were convicted, and now they're taken away. But there was a period that there was a conviction. Now he just said the case was dismissed. The case was not dismissed. He was obviously found guilty in 2004 of a crime, because he now then said there was an expungement later. Okay, so what he originally told us was not the truth. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Okay, because the case was never dismissed if there was an expungement. There was an expungement, it means you were convicted of something, and then years later you went to the court and say, please expunge it. Now, that's a conviction. It may even be deportable for immigration. Of course you have to disclose that. That's a much more serious issue. 1-800-529-5465 is the number to call to get on our show. We're going to be answering your immigration questions, but you got to call us. Other than that, you don't call, I can't answer. I can't do it like this. Paulie in Kansas, Missouri just gave me a question in my head. Yeah, I'll be like Mike Pence. Mike Pence says, I won't get into that. Okay. All right. He says people talk to him.
He does hear voices.
He hears voices. Yeah. All right. Monica in Newcastle, Delaware. Monica.
I have a quick question for you. Right now, I'm a practicing nurse, and I finished my nursing, but unfortunately, I fell out of status. But I found a company that's willing to file for me because of the nursing shortage. Would I qualify or no?
Yes, but you have to have a CGFNS visa screen, and then the issue becomes you fell out of status. What was your status?
Student.
Okay, so on a student visa, as long as you never applied for a change of status, you have duration of status, you do not have a 10-year bar. If you have you pass the NCLEX, you take the TOEFL, test of English as a foreign language, even though obviously it sounds like you speak English, you still need to take it. You get what's called the CGFNS visa screen. That is the College of Graduate Foreign Nursing Schools. See, I know it all. CGFNS visa screen, and then you use that to do the sponsorship. It will be extraordinarily fast, very easy. As long as you never tried to change your status from student to something else, you have duration of status, you would not have a 10-year bar, you would be able to go home, come back with your green card. It is absolutely a way to go. So hold on, we can help you.
What if my visa has expired for a couple of years? Because it took a long time for me.
So what?
Huh?
So what? You'll still get a green card. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
All right, because it's the student visa, that's why. Hold on. All right, let's go to Eric in Washington, D.C. Eric.
Yes, hello.
How are you, Eric?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's happening?
Yes, I want to ask you a quick question. What about, I have a friend, he filed, and he didn't file, but his wife died. How can he still petition the same way?
Yeah, as long as you can file as a widow. I think we had that question. Did you ask that question on Facebook? Or no?
No.
I thought I just answered that question, but I'll answer it again. If you are married and your spouse passes and never filed for you, you have 2 years from the date of the death to file what's called an I-360 application. It's actually the same application you do a VAWA, you would do as a widow as well. And you file that with an adjustment, prove it was a bona fide marriage, prove you're on the death certificate as the surviving spouse, and you can petition yourself. But it has to be done within 2 years of the death.
Thank you. One last quick question before you go. I know somebody personally, and they have their asylum case and their regular case pending. What should they do?
Well, yeah, I answered that question too. Right. Okay, if you have an asylum case and you have an adjustment going at the same time, withdraw the asylum, because if you don't withdraw the asylum case, they're never going to approve the adjustment. So the asylum has to be withdrawn and then file the adjustment.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Hold on if you need help. 1-800-529-5465. Let's Jermaine in Kingston, Jamaica. Jermaine, what's up?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I was in the state the other day, and it happened as me and my friend, our GPS bring us across into Canada, and we exit back at the next border.
I know this case because I spoke to somebody about you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, since we already had a consultation, he was here on a visitor's visa. I know this case because I just had a consultation with your friend about this over the telephone. Okay, he was just hanging out in the car. They were driving. He's legal. He did nothing wrong. Never committed a crime. And the friend stupidly drove across into Canada by mistake. And he was in Canada for a total of an hour and a half or something like that. And then when they tried to come back into the United States, they stopped Jermaine and they said, "Whoa, we think you're working here, or we think you're going to overstay your time." And they deported him at the border, sent him back to Canada. Now he has no business being in Canada, and Canada sent him back to Jamaica.
Oh, wow.
Now, really what should have happened is they should have just let him back in for the remaining 3 months on his visitor's visa. Right. Jermaine, since your friend already paid for the consultation, and this is an ongoing consultation, it doesn't need to be done on our show. Hold on, and we'll talk next week and figure you out, okay? Let's go to Jimmy in Montpelier, Vermont.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
What's up, Gert?
What's up?
Good. Lord of the Ring, Lord of the Ring.
Lord of the Ring? What did he say?
Yes.
Oh.
I call
a lot of things. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, behalf of my
friend. A lot of rain. Got it. I'm having trouble hearing Jimmy. Let's start again. Jimmy in Montpelier, Vermont. How are you? Lots of rain going on in Vermont.
Yes. My friend is from Guatemala.
Yes.
But his and his wife have a problem, and then now they put him on probation, but because he violated his condition, so now he wants to apply for a green card. Do you available to get his green card? Should he not apply for it?
I don't understand the question. You have a friend who's from Guatemala, and what's the problem?
He violated his condition.
What do you mean he violated his condition? What condition did he violate?
Because he's not supposed to call his wife. He called his wife, so.
Okay. All right. So he had an order of protection. The wife had an order of protection against him, and he violated it, and now he was arrested. He was arrested as a result of that.
Yes.
Okay.
And
yeah. So yeah. Go ahead.
They want to give him. I believe they're gonna put him on probation. So
okay. Well, he may
have to apply for his green.
Well, he should do it anyway. He may. I don't know what he pled. What ultimately he was found guilty of. It may or may not be a deportable offense.
If I guilty for violating.
I know. What state was this in? There's 50 states with 50 different penal laws. Okay, so so I don't know the penal law of Vermont off the top of my head as good as I am. But what I'm saying is that it's possible that he pled guilty. He was found guilty of an inadmissible offense, or maybe not. But if he was, then we'll do a waiver. If he wasn't, then he's all good. The only way to figure it out is we got to start looking at his criminal records and figure it out. But certainly he should be filing. What he should not be doing is nothing. Nothing is not a response.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell him to contact you guys, but it should be able, because it's a family issue. I don't know how immigration take care of that, but it's a family issue.
Well,
but
no, because I know they're still together, but there's, if you're guilty of a domestic violence offense, that bars you from getting a green card. So I don't know exactly what he was found guilty of. I don't know exactly, the situation, the facts surrounding the order of protection, and what he called, and et cetera, et cetera. So we got to look into it more. So hold on one second, okay? All right, 1-800. I mean, would seem logical, that it's just between you and the wife. Why should that prevent me from getting a green card? But the law says domestic violence, no green card. No green card. All right, 1-800-529-5465, 1-800-529-5465. Let's go back to social media check-in. All right. What do we got going on in social media check-in? Kimberly, Kim.
Listen, right now they are all giving each other riddles to answer over at Bradshaw Live.
I was actually reading them and guessing as well.
They're good.
What kind of riddles?
For example, the one that started it off was... If
nobody even listens to me, they're just doing their own. Their own thing over there.
Marge actually called attention to that. She said, "I hope you guys are paying attention because I'm going to ask one of the callers questions, and you guys are going to have to give the correct immigration answer."
It's like I'm talking to nobody. All right, so what's the riddles? Like, I don't understand.
Like the first one was, if there is a deaf, blind, and dumb person who step in front of a bus, who stops the bus?
The bus driver.
The bus driver. Brad, you're good at riddles.
I didn't even read it. I mean.
Why does a car go over the hill?
Why does a car go over the hill?
Yeah.
Is that you're asking me?
I'm asking you. It's a riddle.
Why does a car go over the hill? I don't know. Why does a car go over the hill?
Because it can't go under.
Let me ask you a question.
Ooh.
Why do you park in a driveway and drive in a parkway?
I actually don't know the answer.
I've
heard this one.
All right. Do we have immigration questions?
We do have immigration questions. Our first question is from Enoch, and Enoch says, my case is after my 2-year green card, and I've gone ahead and applied for the 10-year, but it's still not here yet, and my expiration is coming up on my 2-year. I'm worried. What should I do?
Make an InfoPass appointment, go down to immigration, and get a stamp on your passport. They'll extend it for a year. It's taking about 1.5 years, these cases.
All right, we have one from Kazmita. Brad, someone wants me to ask you, how long would it take to get your green card after you did your fingerprints?
6 months, assuming it's on a marriage case. You figure about 6 more months.
We've got Rossell, who says, is it possible for a tourist to adjust their tourist visa to a working visa? And if so, how do I do it?
Yeah, you need a job sponsor, though. But yes, and by the way, the H-1B visa is due April 1st. So if you want to change your status to an H-1B visa, you kind of missed out on it because there's going to be a lottery and you're not going to get an application in. But I think the first step to a work visa, there's other ones besides an H-1B visa, the first step is have a consultation and you need a job sponsor.
Okay, Kathy Heaven, she says, aloha and good morning.
She's from Hawaii.
I would guess.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
That's our plan. Brad, you're so smart. All right, Brad.
You're good at the accents. You're very good at the accents.
All right, how does this work? K1 visa.
Has it work?
Yeah. So
okay, so the K1 visa. Oh, there's more to it?
Let me tell you, yeah, because I wanted to bring my boyfriend from the Philippines, so I need assistance and information, what I need and what he needs. Thank you so much.
Aloha! And hi, how are you? That's aloha is hello in Hawaiian.
Yes.
Right? In Hawaii, they say aloha.
The hula dance.
Is that you hulaing?
Yeah.
Was that what that was?
Yeah. So a K1 visa is the fiance visa. So I assume that you're a United States citizen. You take an I-129F petition. You're actually filing for K1. They should call it the I-129K. That would make sense. But they call it the I-129F, I guess, for fiance visa. You file it with immigration and you prove you're in a relationship with your spouse. Eventually you'll have to do an affidavit of support and he'll get a K1 visa to come to Hawaii, and you have 90 days from the time he comes to Hawaii to marry you. Now we can certainly help you, and the telephone number obviously to call us is 1-800-529-5465.
Bino would like to know, can you review an F1 answer from the previous caller in regards to duration of status and a 10-year bar?
Yes. So if you overstay your time here, you entered the country without inspection, you have unlawful presence. There is a difference between being out of status and having unlawful presence. Those are two different terms. So let's talk about it. Being out of status means you violated your visa status. You came on a tourist visa, you started working. You came on a student visa, you didn't go to school or stopped going to school, whatever it may be. Okay? As soon as you do something that you weren't supposed to do, you are out of status. Unlawful presence is something different. Unlawful presence means you are stayed in the United States beyond the date in which the government told you you were allowed to stay. On almost any visa, it says when you enter, they tell you how long you're allowed to stay. You come on a tourist visa, they say you can stay for 6 months. You come on a work visa, they say you can stay for 3 years. At the end of that 3 years, as soon as you stay past that date, you start to gain what's called unlawful presence. What the law says is if you are unlawfully present in the United States for more than 180 days and you leave, can't come back for 3 years. If you are unlawfully present for more than a year, you can't come back for 10 years. On student visas, which is the F1 visa, as well as on J1 visas, which is the the exchange visa, when you come into the airport, they don't tell you a day in which you have to leave. They tell you you can stay for as long as you're studying. So since they've never gave you a specific day to leave, they didn't say leave on August 1st, 2018. You had to leave January 1st, 2015. Under the way the law is written, they can never calculate when your unlawful presence starts unless the government writes you a letter that says leave the country. And the only way the government would ever write you a letter to say leave the country is if you tried to change your status to another status and you were denied. Then they would tell you leave the country. So for people who came on student visas, for people who came on J1 visas, you have the unlawful presence doesn't trigger unless you do something to trigger it, which is change your status. So this woman who called earlier about registering, who was a registered nurse, who wants to be sponsored as a nurse, she doesn't have unlawful presence. She came on a student visa. She stopped going to school. She's out of status for sure. She has violated her visa for sure. But since they never gave her a day to leave the country, she has no unlawful presence. If she goes home, she does not have a 10-year bar. How is that?
Whew.
A mouthful.
That was an exhaustive answer. Is what
all
that
right,
was.
so this is what we're going to do. I had a chance earlier yesterday to speak to a fantastic filmmaker. He's originally from Panama, His family came from Panama and Guyana. Half Panamanian, half Guyanese.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay, and he's doing a documentary on a gentleman by the name of Weldon Irvine. Now, Weldon Irvine, by the way, when we did this, I got Weldon's name wrong like 100 times. Okay? So it's Bernstein or Bernstein. I get it wrong all the time, too. So, but he's a very, you know, if you're a jazz aficionado, you would know all of his songs. And he is well-known, musician and composer and person in the jazz field through, from 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
So, but he never had commercial success. So nobody, he's like one of those jazz people who, you know the songs, like your poor guy never had commercial success.
Wow.
Never made money, even though he was a very well-talented man. So I had a chance to interview a filmmaker who's doing a film about him, a documentary. His name is Victorious DeCosta. Let's watch.
Nice.
With us today is Victorious DeCosta. He's a first-generation American with Afro-Latino roots. He was born in Brooklyn. His family comes from Panama and Guyana. He is a filmmaker. He is coming out with a documentary now called Digging for Weldon Irvine. And he is with us today to discuss his documentary, what it's all about, what his American dream is, and what he sees what's going on in the world as a filmmaker. Victorious, welcome, and welcome to the Brad Show Live. I appreciate your time. Where are you right now?
Right now, I'm in Brooklyn.
You're in Brooklyn, New York, downtown Brooklyn. Okay, so you're producing a documentary on Weldon Irvine. He's a music producer. Can you tell us a little bit about this film?
Yes, well, Weldon Irvine, he was a composer, arranger. He was one-time musical director of Miss Nina Simone for some years. He was born at the campus of Hampton University, and Weldon was the mentor to a lot of jazz artists that people would know, like Billy Cobham, Marcus Miller, Lenny White, and also hip-hop artists like Mos Def and Q-Tip. And Weldon also was an activist. He was politicized since the 60s, obviously being born in the Jim Crow era South, and his stint with Nina Simone.
When was he born? What era are we talking about with
1943.
him?
1943.
And when did he get into the music business?
He got into the music business in 1965.
And what was his first big hit? What was his first breakout thing?
His first big hit was Nina Simone's "To Be Young, Gifted, and Black," which was 1968. So he wrote that his first year working with Nina. And so he had those political leanings from the beginning. And Weldon, sadly, he committed suicide in 2002.
Oh my gosh. Was he active in the civil rights movement in the 60s?
As an artist.
As an artist.
As an artist. So music like To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. He had an album called Liberated Brother. So his art was always geared towards, radical revolutionary quality.
So what drove you to tell his story and tell us, other than being a successful composer, what was interesting about his life?
Well, my executive producer, Joe Cavacino, told me that I reminded him of Weldon Irvine through the years. I never couldn't get his name right, Weldon Irvine.
Right. I had the same problem. Problem.
And I'm not a jazz fan. At least I wasn't a jazz fan. But what it is that I went and just looked up his story after some years, and it was the tragedy of him being an unsung hero, and then this how he went out. So he wrote over 500 compositions. He has a lot of songs and mentees that are household names, household songs, but we don't know who he is.
Correct.
And that's a sad thing, and I think that's pretty much a lot of our story. Those of us who maybe push the stories of others, like you're doing right now, out into the world, and that may be a big part of our gift, but never really getting our shine.
He was by all accounts extraordinarily successful and completely unknown. Yes. Successful as an artist, maybe not monetarily, maybe not
at all.
Right. So how long did it take you to make this documentary?
I'm still making it. I'm on my third year now, about 2.5 years in, and I'll be done in July. Knock on wood.
So what takes so long? Because people out there maybe are interested in making a movie, or maybe interested in following this path. why does a documentary take, for example, 3 years to make, and maybe, you know, a comedy movie out of Hollywood they film in 6 months?
Well, documentary, depending on the level that you're doing it, and also depending if you're dealing with, let's say, a subject matter versus an actual person, two different things. So with me, it took about half a year to really getting good with his family, you know, and to get some of the archives and get people to trust me enough to open the doors to me. When you're indie, fundraising also is a thing. I started out of pocket, and so, you know, that slows things down, but I didn't want to wait until I got funding. So these are some of the things that it takes. And editing is a lot.
So it took you a long time to convince the family to trust you, that you're going to make their, you know, whether you were talking to his children or maybe a girlfriend or spouse or a brother or sister. I'm not sure who you were speaking to in the family, but I guess it took them a long time to trust you that you would make Weldon and put him in the proper light that he deserves. Why do you think they were so protective of him?
Well, one, people tried before. People tried a couple of times to do something on Weldon. Right. Also, Weldon was very protective of himself. You know, he owned all of his publishing. He owned all of his music, and so he didn't really trust. He didn't have a manager. He didn't really trust outsiders, you know, too much himself. And then Weldon was he committed suicide, and so there was a wound that I was opening up. Right. You know, that people just hadn't thought about him. Oh, I'm not fair to say, people hadn't really been talking about him for a lot of years, or talking about what happened, and here I come out of nowhere knocking on the door. Can you please expose your life? So, you know, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, I understand. So what would you say, you're finishing the film now, would you say would be the theme of his life, or the theme of the film that you're trying to, you know, is there a message from the film or a theme of the film, you know, regarding his life?
The theme of Weldon's life is music is the key. That was his whole thing. Music is the key. The theme of this film, a big part of this film is mental wellness, because we don't shy away from the suicide, and we look at the darkness that was in Weldon's life that helped him to create the music that he did, you know, as an outlet. And then we go into trying to figure out, well, why did he do it, and what are the warning signs that you can see in artists in regards to perhaps being suicidal. So that's a mental wellness is a big part of this.
Isn't that a theme a lot also with a lot of the jazz greats, right? They all suffered a lot, and the suffering came out in their music. I think that's a general theme of jazz.
That's a great thing you just said, because unlike a lot of people in jazz, they're typically, you know, who might use alcohol or heroin, you know, back in that era, Weldon was clean. Weldon didn't drink, smoke, you know, from majority of his life. So it's like, well, where is it going? Where is all that energy going? What is his release? And he didn't really have one.
Mm-hmm. And it's bottled up to eventually what was a suicide.
Right. So when he did jazz, he didn't write jazz for people who love jazz. And my documentary isn't like a jazz lovers documentary. Right. It just so happens that this is a person who was a musician, but we go a lot into his life and his legacy.
I understand. Is this your first film, or you've done other films as well?
It's my first feature-length film. So, you know.
How did you get into the film business? How did you decide to get into the film business, that this is what you want to do in life?
I did music for a lot of years, music business for a lot of years, but film was my first love. I had scripts that I wrote when I was in junior high school. My father had tons of movies, either VHS or analog reel, and it just was very natural to me, very natural step to me.
Are you enjoying the filmmaking process? Because it is a big chunk of your life, 2.5, 3 years. What is it that you're enjoying? Is there any part that you said, I could deal without this part of it?
Well, it's funny, on my screen is a picture that's coming up of Dr. Sam Wayman, who is Nina Simone's brother. The most enjoyable part of this film is I've been amassing a lot of elders, and I've never really had elders before. And that's just a good part, you know, just finding a lot of people who have lived these lives, and beyond them knowing Weldon Irvine, they just have so much information and so much love to give me.
So where can somebody come and see this film or follow you to the film's completion? Where do you think this film is going to be shown? Tell us about, you know, completed film and where we can see all this and how we can follow this to the end.
Okay, so the film will be done by July, and I'm looking for a November release. And I'm crossing my fingers for Doc NYC Film Festival in New York. But you can keep in touch with us at the website, WeldonIrvineFilm.com, and that's WeldonIrvine film.com. Also on Instagram at Weldon Irvine Film. But look out for November.
And you do have an immigration story, your first generation born in Brooklyn. Tell us about your parents' immigration story.
So my father, who was Weldon's age actually, he was born in Panama. His father was born in Jamaica. And his father was part of the people from the Caribbean who came over to build the Panama Canal. So that's where that family comes from.
Right.
My mother's family, they come from British Guyana. And they were there, as I imagine, as long as slavery existed in that region. And so my father came to live in 1970. My mother came here to live in 1966 in North America.
And how did they meet? How did a man from Panama meet a woman from Guyana?
They met at a roller skating rink in Brooklyn, because you know in Brooklyn now, New York is the melting pot.
Right.
In my neighborhood, Flatbush and Crown Heights is like the Caribbean melting pot. So you'll get people from Haiti to Jamaica to anywhere. And so my generation is the first of children who have this multi-Caribbean background.
So your father was Panamanian. It's a completely different culture. It speaks Spanish than British Guyana. Although Panama, Central America, Guyana is obviously South America. What heritage did you kind of galvanize to more or feel more part of growing up?
Well, some of your viewers can look at my colors and they can see that I have the red, white, and blue of Panama today. I would say Panama definitely, because the relation between the boy and his father is as such. But I am able to go in between both worlds a bit flawlessly. I've been to both countries a lot. I bought some land in Guyana, but I definitely leaned towards Panama, if only because there weren't a lot of Panamanians in my particular neighborhood.
Right.
And having that Latino background or heritage, it unfortunately made me feel more special than other people, which is one of the detriments of having that duality.
So Victorious, tell us a little bit about each of these photos as they come up.
This photo is myself, I believe 8 years old. Well, I'm in my uncle and aunt's house. This is my father. It's our Spanish leagues, athletics. My father was actually a famous baseball player in Panama before he came here. So this is his identification for the league that he played with. He played baseball really from the 50s into the early 70s. In Panama, he came here and he played a bit. He got scouted for the Padres. He was injured a little bit before that, and he, like most folks, he blew a shot, and that was it. This is his visa. I think that the first time that he came to the United States, my grandmother already lived here. She actually was working for the Alexander Sachs family. Alexander Sachs, who was the guy who brought the Einstein letter to FDR about nuclear war. So
right, he's the one who started the Manhattan Project during World War II.
He is. And my grandmother was apparently his housekeeper.
Oh,
maybe that's a film there, right?
Well, that's another film. I mean, you have lots of films already going through your head.
This is my father's certificate of appreciation. My father got his citizenship by serving in the armed forces, which is one of the ways they get you.
Yes, if you served in the armed forces during military combat for 1 year, you can apply for automatic citizenship.
Right. He was a Korean War.
He was a Korean War vet. Right.
Pardon me. Excuse me. He was a Vietnam War era.
Right. Right. So if you were in the military at any time, you didn't have to go to Vietnam just by you could have been peeling potatoes in Indiana for all the government knew, but as long as it was wartime, you would become a citizen. we always ask everybody before the end of our show, because we're all about helping people to achieve their American dream. What is one person's American dream is maybe not somebody else's. An American dream means something different to each person. Tell me what you think. Growing up as a first-generation American, you're a filmmaker who's documenting somebody who lived a tortured life here in America, who otherwise should have been at least financially more successful than they were, but was certainly artistically successful and had a tragic end to his life. Tell me what you think the American dream should be, and whether you're living it, and whether you've achieved it. So, mouthful.
I can do that. I can do that. And as you're speaking, talking about Weldon's tragic ending, I have 6 friends that killed themselves, so it's very personal to me. But I'll tell you this, my mother told me that when she was in Guyana, when she was 10, before she came, she was told that the streets in America were paved with gold. And this was told to her literally, and she interpreted it literally. So for me, the American dream is the freedom to define that gold for yourself and for your family, and the freedom to obtain that goal. And that's pretty much it. Freedom to define and obtain that goal.
Well, very well said. No, that's good. Very well said. Victorious DeCosta, best of luck on your documentary. It sounds really interesting. I look forward to watching it when it's completed, and congratulations on very hard work in putting this together. I mean, a substantial amount of your life, 2.5, 3 years to do this, to devote to this man and this film. Congratulations to you, and I appreciate you coming on our show. Thanks. All right, Victorious DeCosta, fantastic filmmaker, very nice guy. I'm looking forward to seeing his movie. And we're going to go back to immigration now. Let's go to Shanique in Brooklyn. Shanique. Shanique.
Yes, Brad.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
So I have a quick question. My cousin is getting married tomorrow, and her fiance told him yesterday that he has 2 felonies. Like 6 years ago, he was watching for someone who was kidnapping another guy and something like that, and he got locked up for 2 years. And then he got another one, like he got into a fight and beat someone real bad. So she was wondering if it's going to be a problem when she put in her paperwork.
It's not a problem with immigration. You know, she just has to make sure this is the right guy, that's all. But for immigration, not a problem.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're very welcome. 1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Bevy in Belmont, Texas. Bevy?
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. What's up?
I have a question. Okay, I'm an American citizen, and my husband, he lives in the Gambia. My husband went up for an immigrant visa interview. He went up for his interview, and he was denied, but he was never offered a waiver.
Why was he denied? Why was he denied?
For fraud and misrepresentation.
What was the fraud?
It was pretty much something that happened when he was a child and someone used the wrong date of birth. So that came up, I guess, in the interview.
But you can't be held accountable for a misrepresentation if you're a child.
He was maybe about 18.
Oh, okay. So then he was an adult. You know, he should be able to get a waiver. When was this interview?
His interview was actually in 2015. But we've been going back and forth. Like, they've been sending his case from the consulate all the way to USCIS, back and forth. This happened already like 3 times.
So maybe they're not even believing it's a real marriage. I think that's probably the issue. Is that it?
Maybe so. Yeah. And I'm just trying to see how can I at least get a waiver to try to get my husband here.
So I think we're not going to solve this on this show. I think what's going to have to happen is you're going to have a consultation with us. We're going to have to call the embassy, maybe follow up with USCIS. I think when it goes back and forth, what's going on is before you even get to the waiver, they don't even know, they don't believe this is a real marriage. Okay, first you got to prove it's a real marriage before we even get to the waiver for the misrepresentation. So when the embassy sends the case back to USCIS, it's always about investigating whether or not this is a real marriage. So that's where we have to start our investigation to get this thing going. So hold on, I think you're going to need a consultation though, okay? All right, 1-800-529-5465. We're going to go back to Kimmy Kim Kim and Jonathan right now. We're going to finish up with rapid fire. Kimmy Kim Kim's got to leave a little bit early.
Yes. She's leaving us.
She's leaving us.
Cutting and running.
Cutting and running. All right, so what do we got here on rapid? We don't like it rapid fire.
No. I do that all the time too, though.
What do we have on social media check-in, though?
Social media check-in.
Yeah, we have stuff. There you go.
Social media check-in. Hustle King
Yes.
has a whopper of
Hustle
a problem.
King.
Hustle King.
Oh boy, I'm sure he does. Sounds like he would have a whopper of a problem.
He's the king of hustling.
Yes, Hustle
That's
King.
That's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So Hustle King has a friend. His friend was living in Jamaica, but he was going to Las Vegas for a conference for his job. He did not pay for his hotel room in advance. He was planning on getting to Vegas and just ordering the hotel room. I have a feeling like you know what's going on.
Is he living in a van down by the river now? He's going to get a hotel room.
That's not too good of an
Unfortunately,
idea.
he was immediately sent back at the Atlanta airport and given a 5-year bar because they're saying you're coming here and you're going to stay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he was given a 5-year bar, and that was April of last year.
Right.
And then in February of this year, his fiance, he went to South Carolina, or his fiance went to Jamaica, his fiance is from South Carolina, went to Jamaica and they got married. Now he's still in Jamaica and he's wondering how can they go about living with the fiance. Like now they're
married.
Now.
So, all right, that was convoluted.
That was super convoluted.
All right, so
And
basically,
believe it or not,
the
that
guy
was
got deported at the airport for misrepresentation.
Yeah.
Period. I just said this whole.
That's all you
And
did.
now he's married to a citizen.
And now he's married to a citizen.
Okay, so I said that all in one sentence.
That was one
Okay.
sentence.
In about 5
All right,
words.
so a U.S. citizen's going to file for you. And after she files for you, you're going to need 2 waivers. One's a 212 waiver for deportation. You were ordered deported at the airport, so you need a waiver for deportation. After you get that waiver approved, it's the 212 waiver, you're going to go to the embassy for your green card. They're going to turn you down for your green card because of misrepresentation. They claim you lied. Whether you did or not, who knows, but they claim you lied. Your intention was different than visiting. So then you need a waiver for that as well. Both waivers are done here. You're going to need the help of a good lawyer, but there's a process to go through.
All right, so this is another long one. You ready? Vivian Meanchop. What is the legal age for a U.S. citizen child to file for his mom? Just kidding.
21. 21.
Mouthful.
Oh my God, I can't believe you got through that.
Blackjack. It's blackjack. 21, right? 21. Blackjack. Yes.
Camille says, is it a problem if they did not write the 6-month time frame in your passport when you arrived in the U.S.?
No, they're not doing that anymore. It's not a problem. But you could always go Google, you can go online. It's a long website address, but you just Google I-94 U.S., Department of Homeland Security, and there's a website that you can print it out. But it's not a problem.
All right, Raise or Rase if you're Nancy. I was about to say. I was going to say something else. Rase. My home was raided with no initial warrant, and I was arrested for multiple charges, which I was released for. The charges have been brought down, and I go back to court again on Monday. If the case is dismissed, can I get my property back and sue?
I would need to know a lot more. I don't, Where did this even happen?
We don't know. Rase, give us a little
Where
bit
did this
more.
happen? Yeah, whether you can get property back, sue. We gotta figure this all out. But obviously, if somebody came, was there a warrant? Did they just bash into your home? I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff we would need to know.
Details,
Yes.
guys.
All right, so we're gonna do one more.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're gonna get to Julia, and I know you gotta split you got a leaf like a tree.
I gotta make like a tree.
You can make like a tree and leaf.
Make like a banana and split.
Right.
I got where you were going though.
Got it.
Mind
Are
there any other ones?
There's one more.
I got
There
one
is.
more from Diaz. Diaz says, I'm an American citizen and I filed a petition for my wife and son, who's 4 years old. The son is 4 years old. Last December. And I have now just received the receipt. How long is it going to take to get my full petition approved?
About 6-9 months. It's going to take about 6-9 months. But that's to get the petition approved. To get them here with a green card is going to take over a year.
Glorious.
All right. So let's go to Julia. Enjoy your evening, Kimmy Kim
Thank
Kim.
you,
I'm going to
thank
finish
you.
up
Have fun.
with Jonathan.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Julia. Julia, how are you?
Hi, good evening, Brad. I'm fine. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
I got a quick question.
Yes.
I came here, fiancé visa, but that one didn't work out.
Did you get married?
And I was, pardon me?
Did you marry the man?
No, I didn't marry my ex-fiancé.
Why did you not marry him? What happened?
It didn't work out because there was another guy in the house that was living with him, and I didn't like the way they are together because my
He's bisexual?
ex-fiancé...
He ended up being a bisexual?
Yes, yes.
Okay, got it. All right, yeah, I
Okay,
wouldn't
so
like that either.
I decided to go home.
Right, don't
Yeah.
blame you.
Yeah. So it didn't work out. I decided to go home, and then he bought me a ticket. I was on the way to the airport, and my friend in Oregon, she canceled my ticket, so I can just go to her house. And
So how long ago did this happen?
2009.
Okay, so you need to get a green card.
Yes, and then I ended up being illegal here.
Right, because you didn't go home on the fiancé visa.
Yes.
Right.
And then
Did you
found
get divorced?
A new guy.
Oh, you got a new guy. You're married now.
Yes, and I'm married now. It was 2013.
Okay.
We got married, and we got 2 boys now.
Great.
And then we called a lawyer here, but he said that I need to go home because of my fiancé visa entry.
All right, so this is it. He's right, but you need to go home with a provisional waiver.
Yeah, that's what he said. And
Okay,
he said
and then when you
it's
go home with
difficult
and then when you I'm not interested in what he said. I'm going to tell you what it is. Okay.
Okay,
So yeah, you need to file a provisional waiver. Get that approved so when you go home you don't have a 10-year bar. And then when you go home, they're going to question you about the validity of your first marriage and second. Now, obviously, the second is not going to be much of an issue. You got 2 kids, but they're going to want to know, hey, what was the story with this first marriage? Why didn't you get married? Was there a misrepresentation? Was it fraud? What's going on? And you're going to have to explain to them in a lot of detail what happened. They're going to have to believe that you weren't intending to commit fraud. You were really coming to marry this man. You found out he was a bisexual after you got here. You didn't know this ahead of time. And obviously, you wouldn't be able to marry him. You would have to be able to show all of that, but that's going to be the process. Now you need good lawyers. You're looking at one, okay?
Yeah, and I heard from your show, Brad, that if your husband is Navy veteran. He was in the Navy for 4 years. My husband now.
True, but the problem is that the visa you came here, the fiancé visa, you still can't get the parole even if you get the parole in place, you still cannot adjust entering on a fiancé visa. You still have to go home, even in military. It's the one visa you can't do anything on. So hold on.
Oh, okay.
All right, hold on. All right. 1-800-529-5465. That's the number to call. 1-800-529-5465. Now, for those of you who watch the news, you may know that there's a big trial coming up with Bill Cosby on Monday. Okay? Now, it's going to be in the news. There's a lot of people who are accusing Bill Cosby. You're still here.
Oh, whoa.
You're supposed to left.
Whoa. I thought she was
Why
gone.
are you still here? You were supposed to have left. I just said goodbye. You're leaving.
I said goodbye.
And now you're back.
The computer said goodbye.
I'm gone.
You don't see me.
Camera lady, what are you doing? All right. So anyway, Bill Cosby. There's going to be a big. Well, now you're going to stay. So Bill Cosby, he's on trial for his life.
Yes.
All right. There's a whole bunch of women who are accusing him of some really bad stuff.
Yes.
And we were unable to get Bill Cosby to come on the Brad Show Live.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't want to come and talk about it. So we have the next best thing, Jake Hudnut. Okay, and Jake Hudnut is here to break down the whole Bill Cosby trial because it's going to be starting on Monday. Let's watch.
Wow.
So I'm here today with Jacob Hudnut. A lot of you know him as one of our fantastic criminal defense attorneys here at Spar and Bernstein. He's been on the Brad Show Live many times, breaking down a lot of legal issues for you. We're here today to talk a little Bill Cosby. Now, a lot of you remember Bill Cosby from The Cosby Show, arguably one of the most famous sitcoms and certainly one of the most well-known and successful sitcoms in American history. He was known as America's dad. He was to many the first very positive, upscale African-American family portrayed in a successful show on television. It ran through the 1980s and early 1990s, and he portrayed himself on the show as a loving, caring, nurturing, upscale, wealthy father with all the regular family issues that a regular American family stereotypically would have, raising children and their teenage problems. And always Bill Cosby came to the end and figured it out for his family, and it was funny and touching and loving all at the same time. And that's how we remember Bill Cosby.
America's dad.
America's dad, correct. But unfortunately for all of us, as well as their alleged victims, he has been accused of sexual molestation, abuse, assault, rape. He was charged with aggravated indecent assault for drugging and molesting a woman in a suburban home in Philadelphia in 2004. Now, he says he's innocent. He was charged. His offenses could have landed him in jail for up to 30 years. This is serious offenses being levied against him. In January 2017, after 6 days of deliberation, the jury couldn't come up with a decision. Some wanted to convict, others wanted to find him innocent, and it ended up being a mistrial. As a result, he walked away free, not guilty. Now the prosecutors are bringing back again a new trial with the same charges against him with a new jury. They are not done with him yet. His retrial date is scheduled to begin April 2nd, which is next week. Now in March, Jacob, as you know, because this is what you're here to talk about, there was a major victory in the Cosby trial handed down to the prosecutors. They were able to get a judge to agree to allow 5 additional accusers to come into this trial and testify about what Bill Cosby did to them. Now, these accusers are not the victim in this particular trial in which they are trying to convict Bill Cosby on. And these allegations that these accusers, these other 5 women are coming forward with who are going to be able to testify in this trial, these allegations that they say Bill Cosby also did these things to them as well happened so long ago it's beyond the statute of limitations. So I'm here with Jake, and we were reading about all of this, and I said, Jake, how does this all happen? How do they allow somebody to come in and say, Bill Cosby did this to me 25 years ago? How is that in any way evidence that he did something to this woman in 2004?
Excellent. Yeah, I thought we'd break it down for the folks at home because it's in the news. This would be called character evidence.
Okay, so let's break it down. For the layperson out there, we like to call him the armchair lawyer.
There you go.
Okay, let's break it down. What do you mean by character evidence for our armchair lawyers out there?
Sure. To put it as simple as possible, character evidence in a criminal trial first depends on whose perspective. For a prosecutor's perspective, it's the idea that this defendant is a bad person. For a defense attorney's perspective, if they choose to put character into evidence, it would be that this person, my client, is a good person. That's at its core what character evidence is, and beyond that depends on when it's permissible and when it's not permissible.
So how is character evidence used by a prosecutor in this particular case to prove, well, he's a bad person, so therefore he did it? How is that allowed?
Well, so there's 2 steps. Generally, the presumption is against character evidence, particularly if it's offered to show that the defendant's a bad person. That's called criminal propensity, right? So if you're on trial for dealing drugs, the prosecutor can't introduce evidence that you once jumped the turnstile to say, oh, he broke that law, he must have broken this law. That's impermissible.
So how did it, you've looked at this, how is it possible then, okay, that Bill Cosby has character evidence being brought against him by 5 other women that just basically say he's a bad dude? and therefore he did it. How come the judge admitted it in this particular case?
In this case, the judge was able to make this ruling because the prosecutor successfully argued a connection between that character evidence and the case that's before this jury. There's generally 5 circumstances in which that's allowed, and they often overlap. In law school, they teach you the acronym MIMIC evidence, 1 letter for each word. It's motive, intent, mistake, identity, and common scheme or plan.
Okay, so let's break it down again for our armchair lawyers out there. All right, so the prosecutor came in and they said these 5 witnesses, okay, who will come and testify and say Bill Cosby is a bad guy, and therefore he had motive, intent, and all of those MIMIC acronyms were in there. How did they convince the judge in this particular case to allow these 5 witnesses to come and testify?
Sure. A prosecutor doesn't have to argue all 5. I think in this case, a few of them were hit on, but the biggest one was common scheme or plan. Bill Cosby has been accused by over 60 women of these types of acts. And what's very startling about those accusations is that there's a lot of similarities. It's basically the same MO, as you would say. Each one of them basically more alleges that he invited them into a space that was his, whether it was a home he was staying at, his home, a hotel while he was on the road doing comedy, offered those women something to drink. They didn't feel quite right, and then they woke up feeling as if they had been sexually assaulted. Very specific and similar allegations that was able to allow the prosecutor to argue common scheme.
Now, what would you have argued if, you know, the prosecutor comes in and says, we got these women that say 20 years ago Bill Cosby did something to them, okay, and we want to bring them in to prove that if he did it to them 20 years ago, then he did it to this woman in 2004.
Sure.
What would your defense be to that? What would your argument be to say that should not be allowed?
I would argue unreliability. I would argue that we are circumventing the statute of limitations and the reasons there are statutes of limitations, which are to protect people from accusations that happened so long ago. It's less fresh in witnesses' minds. There's less access to investigating your own defense. I would argue all of that, and I would say, you know, one of the things that mimic evidence is so dangerous is because the jurors will get a very specific instruction after they hear from this evidence from the judge, and the judge will say, you are only allowed to consider this evidence for the purpose of drawing the link between these specific actions of drugging people under very specific circumstances. You're not allowed to listen to a bunch of different women say this and say, you know what, he's a bad person, we need to find him guilty.
I will say this, after reading everything about Bill Cosby, I'm actually quite disappointed because I actually liked him a lot. He was one of my favorite entertainers, and now, you know, when I read this, I don't like him so much anymore. But I will say, as an attorney and somebody who is more interested in protecting people's civil rights here in America, I would argue that allowing 5 women to come in and say he did this to me 25, 30 years ago is so prejudicial that an average layperson who's on a jury is never going to be able to distinguish between what is being accused by this woman. Did he on this specific day do this? And being able to differentiate that from listening to 5 other women. They parade everybody in saying he did it, he did it, he did it, he did it. And then, you know, to a layperson, even me as an attorney, when you read, you know, all these accusations, person after person after person, you would say, well, then obviously he did it. Okay, without really considering the specific facts that they need to prove for that specific event.
For that one event in 2004.
Correct.
And what you're saying right now is precisely the argument that a good defense attorney will make on the record outside the presence of the jury to preserve this issue for appeal. Because 110%, if Bill Cosby is found guilty in this trial, defense attorneys are going to have a field day taking this up to the appellate court and reversing this judge's decision, because the risk of prejudice is just too great to not appeal if he's found guilty.
Now, if they bring this up on appeal, does he sit in jail while the appeal is going on?
That's a really good question. I think given his age, I think there'd be a very good argument for what's called bail pending appeal. In this country, most states and jurisdictions do allow some form of bail while your case is being appealed. He probably has great means and will probably be able to afford some type of bail so that he will not be sitting in jail.
It's really interesting because he's 80 years old right now. And, appeals processes, I don't know the appeals process particularly in Pennsylvania because this is a state case, but appeals processes can take years and years and years and years. Even if he's found guilty and they allow him to stay out of jail on bail pending the appeal process, which I am sure there's at least 1 or 2 appellate level courts that are going to take a look at this, and they're going to take a very good look at this because this is a very well-known and famous actor, and the appellate courts in Pennsylvania are going, a lot of people are going to be looking at every word that they put in this decision and what their decision is. So this is not going to be a quick turnaround on an appeal. It's very possible that he can, even if he's found guilty, he'll never spend a day in jail because he'll keep this on appeal for such a long period of time that he'll die before there's a resolution to this.
Yes, and it's a short opinion. It's 2 pages, which a lot of people took issue with. It didn't have a strong application of the controlling law to the particular facts, and oddly, the judge gave the prosecutor just 5 slots to fill. The judge did not pick which women could come and repeat their allegations. The judge left it to the prosecution. So though there might be additional motion practice from the defense, it's a very bizarre and risky ruling for a trial judge to make.
So tell me how in your particular practice, because you've represented lots and lots of people, how are you, because now let's flip it around. This is the prosecutor bringing in character witnesses, accusing Bill Cosby of doing things 30 years ago, and really it's almost like muddying the waters in a way. The prosecutor knows exactly what they're doing. They're trying to muddy the waters a little bit, and even though you're only supposed to use it for his own character, it's just common sense that you would say somebody who hears the same story from 5, 6, 7 women would end up saying, yeah, of course he did it then. Mm-hmm. He continuously does this. Now, you can use it also for your advantage as well as a defense attorney. Let's talk about one of the times you've done it as a defense attorney in your practice.
Yeah, I mean, we get less opportunity to, because quite often defense attorneys don't have to put on a case. We just poke holes in the state's case. I did once bring in character evidence regarding a prosecutor's witness to successfully sort of attack that witness's credibility, but also present kind of an alternative theory of what happened. I represented, it was actually my first trial ever, I represented an individual who was accused of having several glassine vials of heroin prepackaged for resale, found in a jacket that was his. He maintained his innocence. He did have a prior record, so he actually faced life in prison if found guilty of that, would not take a plea, and so we went to trial. Other than it being found in his jacket, it was actually his uncle that called the police and said, my nephew is staying here. He's selling drugs. Come find his coat. Come find his drugs. It was all very suspect, but the prosecutors ran with it. That same uncle had a drug conviction from about 15 years prior. It was too old for me to bring in under general credibility impeachment because he had sort of seemed to have rehabilitated since then in terms of not being rearrested. So I turned to mimic and argued motive to the judge, saying that for all we know, those drugs could have been
the uncle's.
Yes, and therefore he had a motive to lie, or that he wanted his nephew out because the nephew was sleeping on the sofa for months and months and months. So he took his own drugs, put them in my client's pocket, and called the police. And it was all a scheme to get the deadbeat nephew out of the house. And it was kind of a full court shot, but the judge let it in, and the jury was able to hear about this uncle's prior drug use,
which then put some doubt in whose drugs they were.
Yeah, it was interesting. The jury sent out a question while they were deliberating: has my client ever used drugs? Obviously, a judge can't answer that when a jury's deliberating, but when the judge wrote back, I can't answer that. You can only consider what was in evidence. They acquitted within a half hour. So clearly, the drug.
Yeah, and what you did was muddied the waters.
Yeah.
Sow doubt in the jury's mind, even though you were just using that to impeach the character of a potential witness. You've now basically muddied the whole waters for the entire thing, which is what these prosecutors have done with this judge's decision here in the Bill Cosby case. I mean, I would be very surprised if you bring in 5 women now who all say, he did it, he did it, he did it to me, 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 that a jury wouldn't come back, just knowing that and nothing more, wouldn't come back and say, well, then obviously he did it to her as well. So right before we end, Jake, let me ask you a question. What do you think of the, and by the way, these are many of the women who have accused Bill Cosby. That's what we're looking at here right now. So what do you think of the, how much does the judge take into consideration everything that is going around him that has nothing to do with this trial? For example, where, you know, the Me Too movement is very prolific right now, and it's in the news, and women are coming out accusing many famous people of doing many things to them in terms of being sexual abuse and rape and molesting and harassment. How much did the judge, do you think, or do judges generally take what's going on around them in the world and put it into a real life decision?
Generally, judges kind of seem to be removed from the particular politics of the moment. They certainly bring their own ideologies to the bench, particularly in most, or I should say, it's the better practice for judges to be appointed to the judiciary by governors, and in the federal system, the president. Pennsylvania does elect some of the trial court judges. So I could see the current Me Too movement having an effect on this judge's
because they got to work. Because they got to worry about being elected.
Yeah,
again.
they got to worry about the pulse of what's going on. You do in jury selection, though. I'm sure that this is a nightmare of a case to pick a fair and impartial jury.
That nobody has an opinion on this in Pennsylvania.
Right, because this is the hottest issue.
And it's in the news every day.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Jake Hudnut, he's a fabulous criminal defense attorney. God forbid you're ever in a situation, a sticky situation, or a situation where you should have went right and you went left. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's all these different ways of saying when you're in trouble, you need a really good defense lawyer. You got Jake Hudnut here, obviously Paul Hirsch, David Moreno. You've seen them all here on Bradshaw Live. Save our telephone number. It's 1-800-529-5465, 1-800-529-5465. Jake, as the Cosby trial is coming on, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hot issues. I'm going to bring you back on. We're going to be talking about it as it's going on.
Sounds like a deal.
Thanks for coming on.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, Jake Hudnut. Wow, right?
It's sad. It's sad to me.
See Dr. Huxtable.
Yeah, I grew up watching that show,
But I even remember Cosby even before the Cosby. I mean, he did Fat Albert. Fat Albert was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I used to watch that too.
Fat Albert and Flintstones I lived on as a kid. Those are my 2 favorites. And Scooby-Doo. Actually,
the funny thing,
those are my 3 favorite cartoons. I wasn't like a Roadrunner, Bugs Bunny type of guy.
Oh, you weren't the Looney Tunes
No, I wasn't Looney Tunes. I was, Fat Albert I loved. I love Flintstones, and I love Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Those are my 3, favorite ones. But I even remember seeing Bill Cosby, his comedy act. And he did
his work was amazing.
Yeah, he did like this whole comedy thing about going to the dentist, which was hilarious. And I remember, he did this whole thing about, I'm so happy to have this son. And I take him out in the backyard and I throw him the football, and then I take him to the games and I coach him on the football, and then he plays in Pee Wee, and then he played in high school, and I'm there at every game, and I'm taking off from work, and I'm going and I'm doing, and then he finally goes to college, and he's in the big stadium with 100,000 people, and we go rah 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 rah, and he catches the football and he's running. He's running, everyone's screaming and yelling, he's going to score a touchdown, he scores a touchdown, and the TV camera comes right in on him, you know what he says?
What?
Hi, Mom! I remember that. I mean, that was like his, but he does it obviously, so much better.
But that was actually pretty good. I was over here like, what's next?
But that was just like his whole, comedy routine. So that's how I know him.
Yeah.
I don't know him as, the sexual predator that they make, and I just think if they bring 5 people on who say he was a sexual predator to them, then they're going to say, yep, he was to this woman as well. So I think he's going to end. Me personally, I think he's going to be found guilty.
Wow.
I do.
But you still don't think that he'll actually spend any time in jail?
I think they can keep, unless he's going to live to 100. But figure, he has another 10 good years left of life. They could probably push this for a very long time.
Do you think the trial will actually be long?
No.
No.
A couple weeks, probably.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So, any event,
Sad.
it's not going to be like OJ that went
That's
on for
what I
like
was going to say. Do you think it's going to be monumental like that? OJ and the Menendez brothers?
Couple weeks.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, you were at your, tell us about where you were yesterday.
So I did, I moderated a panel called Net Worth for Network to Net Worth, something like that. But it was just amazing because you had a lot of young professionals in so many different career paths that wanted to network with people. And the panel was Galila Bakela, who's an amazing. Hey, there I am.
Oh, that's you?
Me. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm moderating. That's a pretty cool picture.
That's a cool. I didn't even recognize you there from the side.
You know, I have my little African gear there. But we had Galila Bakela, who's an amazing humanitarian filmmaker. She built schools in Africa, found out that the girls couldn't, that's her right there. Yeah. Found out that the girls could not make it to class because they had to walk 5 to 6 hours to get water in the morning, so they would miss class because they were like, yo, why is the ratio off? So then she went, built a school. Well, yeah, she built the school, but then she built wells next to the school.
So they don't have to go get the water.
Exactly, so it went 80% up, and that was the whole panel right there. There's a young girl, 22 years old.
So who else is in these pictures?
22 years old, all the way to the right in the black. She's a fashion designer.
The one second to the right.
Yeah, she's a fashion designer.
Well, she's actually would be second to everybody else. Yeah, to the right.
Yeah, second to the right. She's a fashion designer, 22 years old, who works with Rihanna,
and where's she
Kylie Jenner, all Ethiopians and Eritrean. Yes.
Wow.
So it was just amazing. We had a lawyer who's also a jeweler. I can never say that. Jeweler. So she uses both sides of her brain, you know. And then we had the finance guy, Michael Andebraham. He was
so you learned a little bit. You networked. You met some people.
Networked my butt off. Hopefully we'll bring some of them here. They're great people.
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right, great. All right, so everybody, happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
All right, have a good Friday. You wish, I guess, a good Friday?
Good Friday,
Good Friday to everybody. Happy Passover.
Anybody making dinner?
Anyone making dinner? And we'll see you all Monday. Have a great 3-day weekend. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it, I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK. 1-800-529-5465. What are you doing?